Hello Spartans and welcome. Story in video games is extremely important. Gone is the age where video games could simply be a sandbox of pure, unfiltered fun. Nowadays, video games are expected to have more than just that. In this case, a well thought out narrative and a well built universe to fit that narrative. It doesn't matter if it's Halo, Devil May Cry, Hollow Knight, or in the case of this video, Doom. In my latest video about the origin of the primevals in Doom Eternal, I briefly mentioned why I thought the narrative in Doom, contrary to a lot of Doom players in the community, mattered. And in this video, I want to make a deep dive as to why I think the franchise of Doom was enhanced by giving it an actual story. If you like Doom, leave a huge like. Absolutely destroy the like button. You have no idea how much that actually helps the channel, so please do. And also subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for the support and I hope you enjoy. Nobody, and I mean nobody, cares more about the lore of Doom than me. I know it's not for everyone, but Doom Eternal is art, both in narrative, gameplay, and visually. The game is simply visually stunning at times, so much that I want to fill my wall of artwork from the game. The same thing applies to Berserk, by the way. Mwah. Chef's kiss. My Spartans, I care about art, but I also care about your cash money bling bling. If you care about art and want to get into the world of investing, Masterworks is just what you need. Masterworks lets you invest in multi-billion-dollar paintings from artists like Banksy, George Condo, Picasso, and other iconic artists. You buy shares of these paintings that have been securitized by the SEC. I do not hold any paintings on my apartment, but my most treasured art piece is this one my girlfriend gave to me. But I've always wanted to have a painting of the fallen angel from Alexander Cabanel. Just look at it. It's so badass. Contemporary art prices outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1995 to 2020, meaning that it isn't always subject to the same volatility the stock market is. When Masterworks sells the art, you get a percentage of the proceeds, going up to 32% net return in paintings like Banksy's Mona Lisa. The art market is showing no signs of slowing down. If you want to join, click the link in the description to sign up to Masterworks. Thank you. The early 90s were the beginning of the golden age of gaming. Id Software had single-handedly crafted 3 games that would spearhead the FPS genre into immense popularity: Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, and Quake. I think we all know how popular Doom and Quake were back in the mid-90s. More copies of Doom were installed on PCs than Windows 95, and Quake was the epicenter of LAN events between friends. If you were a gamer, you knew about Doom and Quake. Both games were the very definition of fun, and the levels were simple: kill demons or monsters, find a keycard, escape, rinse and repeat. Both games, Doom and Quake, were extremely popular, but their popularity will not last forever, as a new challenger was in the horizons. In 1998, Valve Software released a game called Half-Life, and without a shadow of a doubt, it destroyed Doom and Quake in every single aspect. There's a reason as to why it is held the best PC game of all time. But why? Doom, Quake, and Half-Life were all part of the same genre. They were all fast-paced FPS where you control a silent protagonist that for some reason is able to fight against big monsters and all odds, while carrying a lot of big fucking guns. Why was Half-Life leagues better than Doom and Quake? Well, my friends, the answer is pretty simple. Half-Life taught a whole generation of big-budget game developers how to tell stories in an interactive space without continually wresting control from the player. At least that's how Google describes it.
The scripted sequences allow us to tell a story without taking you out of the game, and every time you play, you'll find different events happening. Things will happen with a completely different flow. Every time you go into a new situation in the game, it can unfold in a completely different way. A lot of people look for this kind of spontaneity of gameplay on the internet, and they play Quake Deathmatch, they play with other people for the feeling that anything can happen. We're getting that feeling back into a solo play game with Half-Life, because the characters and the creatures in the game have sufficient artificial intelligence that every time they encounter each other, There's no way that the player can predict what's going to happen.
Half-Life was and is an extremely immersive experience. It may not mean that much today in the year 2022, with a lot of games replicating that formula, but back in 1998, playing Half-Life was nothing short of magical. It felt like you really were in Black Mesa secret facility in New Mexico. You felt like Gordon Freeman, and you definitely felt when you fucked up and caused a resonance cascade. Sure, if we were to oversimplify Half-Life, it would be just like Doom. Big ass corporations try to play with slipgates and everything goes to hell, basically. Again, if we were to oversimplify Half-Life, it would be just like Doom. Give you enough context to know what's the end goal, and that's it. And that's what the Valve didn't want to do. They wanted to give context to every single thing that happened in the game. And well, it is one of the most critically acclaimed aspects of the franchise, how you can interact with basically everything. Doom 64 was released the 31st of March 1997, 3 months and 20 days after I was born. But it would be until the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, where I would play Doom for the very first time. Doom 64 was my very first Doom game, and I was about 5 or 6 years old. Thank you, parents, very cool. Needless to say, the experience was magical. Dark corridors, eerie atmosphere, and big scary monsters. It felt like real life. The only FPS I played beforehand was GoldenEye 64, so I wasn't used to that level of horror. But in 2003, after I got my PlayStation 2 with a copy of Resident Evil Outbreak, great game by the way, I played Half-Life for the very first time on my cousin's computer. At that point, I had never really played a single PC game. All I knew were game consoles. And oh boy, the moment I clicked new game, it was magical. I believe that this is one of the best intros to any video game, period, and it's one of the main reasons why Half-Life is such an iconic video game. The reason why I made this comparison between Doom and Half-Life is because there's a lot of people within the community that think that ever since the story began being one of the main selling factors of Doom, the game has been on a nosedive decline, and that both Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are not real Doom games, because now they have a story to tell. Let me tell you one thing. Doom is Doom! Do you think Half-Life would have had the impact it did if it just tried to be another Doom clone? Of course not. Stop taking this quote from John Carmack literally. It made sense back in the early 1990s, where video game technology was in its infancy and the limitations in technology didn't open space for good gameplay and a story. But that was back in the early 1990s. Video games have evolved. They have become bigger and now have the ability to convey more things other than badass gameplay. Classic Doom is one of the best PC games of all time alongside Half-Life, and both games revolutionized the genre in their own right. Doom spearheaded the genre into new heights with its over-the-top gameplay and responsive controls, and Half-Life introduced to the genre interactive storytelling and world building. Half-Life was the natural evolution of the FPS genre, and the same applies with Doom, and that's no exception. Doom is not an untouchable franchise that should have the same loop over and over. I firmly believe that if id Software hadn't taken the franchise the direction it did with Doom 2016, the game would be dead. I mean, there's a reason why it took them 12 years to create Doom 4, and actual Doom 4 was in development hell for 80 years. If you still think that classic Doom is better in every single aspect to Doom 2016 and Eternal, that's fine, everyone has their preferences. I've been playing Final Doom recently for recording videos and I'm having a great time. Doom is such a timeless video game. But loving Doom more than Doom 2016 and Eternal, it's not an excuse to throw the developers and their hard work on building this story under the bus. When the first gameplay sessions of Doom Eternal came out, a lot of people from the community were extremely pissed because the game had cutscenes, and an even bigger focus on the story. Doom Eternal hath perfected the dance from Doom, and gave context to a lot of things we were doing in the campaign, but not as much to still give the lore a sense of mystery. Sure, there are some plot points in Doom Eternal that are weird, but overall it is an amazing experience. From a narrative and world building perspective, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal have reinvigorated the franchise with new life, and it was definitely a step into the right direction. I mean, there's a reason why Doom Eternal is the most successful Doom game of all time. In the past, it was just killing demons for the sake of killing demons because demons are bad, because demons are from hell. And that's absolutely fine playing classic Doom, Doom 2, playing Doom 64. It's a powering experience. You as a normal human battling the legions of hell, that's fucking badass, and it will always remain badass. But it was still a mystery why Doom Guy was able to make all of those things, how he was able to survive the hell invasion, how he was able to survive in hell, how he was able to kill demons with his bare fists. And that's what I love about Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. In the past we were a normal human, but now we know that Doom Guy is a demigod, even a god. We know that hell and the demons cry when they hear the name Doom Guy. They cry when they hear a shotgun in the distance. When when the story, the game tells you that your character, the character you are controlling, your avatar, inflicts that much fear and pain into literal demons from hell, that is an even more powering experience than classic Doom, because now our actions have purpose inside the game, and I just love it. I mean, watching the Doomslayer, his history and whatnot, literally makes me want to 1v1 the sun. It makes me want to go to the gym, pump some iron. I even went back to the boxing gym. The Xbox Bethesda showcase is scheduled for June, and there is a high chance that id Software is going to reveal their new project, and it all points out that it's going to be a remake of the original Quake, and there's a high chance that it will get the Eternal treatment. Lore-wise, Quake has a lot of potential, so I am pretty excited to see how they're going to build its universe. Only time will tell. Thank you for watching this video. And so, okay, my Spartans, please let me know what you think about this video down in the comment section. Leave a like if you did, and a dislike if you disliked the video. It is completely fine. Huge thank you to Masterworks for sponsoring this video. Check them out, it's pretty awesome. And well, have an awesome Saturday. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll see you on Monday on my next video. Adios. Bye.